bringing you news from Hamden, Cheshire, and the Quinnipiac community. Live from the Ed McMahon School of Communications, you're watching QNN, the Quinnipiac News Network.
Good evening and welcome to QNN. I'm Matthew Torres.
And I'm Rachel Piscatelli. Students are reacting on campus after a week of tragedies across the country.
Michelle Garrity has more.
Relay for Life was held on campus this past weekend at the TD Sports Center. The 18 to 24-hour walking event that raises money for cancer patients and research brought in 937 participants. Opening ceremonies included speeches from the Relay Committee and even a dance performance to go with the event's Hawaiian theme. Students camped out in the middle of the basketball court from 6 p.m. Friday to 7 a.m. Saturday. By the end of the Relay, Quinnipiac raised over $76,000. Members of the Kappa Alpha Theta sorority put on their sneakers this past Sunday for their annual Kicks for Casa kickball tournament. All Quinnipiac students were invited to join them from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the quad to enjoy the nice weather, play some kickball, and have a barbecue. To play, students charged $5 per person. All proceeds went to the organization CASA, the court-appointed Special Advocacy Association, which watches over and advocates for abused and neglected children.
Professor Laura Dotson-Renner has been awarded a Progda Film Grant. Dotson is an Assistant Dean of Career Development and Assistant Professor of Modern Languages. This institutional grant allows Quinnipiac to hold a Spanish and Latin American Film Festival on campus in the fall of 2013. It is offered to universities twice a year to help bring Spanish and Latin American cinema to campuses. The Quinnipiac Film Society held their 7th annual Quinnies Award this past weekend. Quinnipiac students submitted their film entries in hopes of winning first place in one of 5 subcategories: drama, comedy, action, experimental, and music videos. Junior Johan Carrillo was awarded with the top prize of the night, Grandi Jury, which goes to the best overall film.
Students on campus are beginning to prepare for the most awaited weekend of the year, May weekend. Mark Schwartz has more.
Now to some national news. There is an update on the investigation involving the ricin letters and the suspect.
Michaeletta is here to tell us more.
Thanks, Rachel and Matt. Paul Kevin Curtis, the Mississippi man accused of sending ricin-tainted letters to President Barack Obama and other officials, was released from federal custody earlier today. The circumstances of his release are unknown, and the FBI says no illnesses had been found as a result of the exposure to the toxin that was intended to reach the president, as well as Mississippi Senator Roger Wicker and Justice Court Judge Sadie Holland. The official Twitter of the Associated Press was hacked earlier today. The world's largest newswire tweeted breaking: 2 explosions in the White House and Barack Obama is injured. The reports were dismissed immediately by White House Press Secretary Jay Carney, who noted the president was fine. The group Syrian Electronic Army claimed responsibility for the false message, the same organization that has previously hacked BBC and CBS News. While news spread of the fake explosions in the White House, the president was actually busy honoring the National Teacher of the Year today. Jeff Charbonneau, a high school science teacher from Zillow, Washington, is the 63rd teacher to receive the prestigious award. Charbonneau teaches chemistry, physics, engineering, and architecture to students in a school with a population of about 400. The winner of the award was determined by the Council of Chief State School Officers after nominations from students, teachers, principals, and administrators. Now, science was never really my cup of tea. Are you two really familiar with the periodic table or what?
I'm going to side with Mike here. I know nothing about science.
I think that's why we're journalists, Matt.
Absolutely.
Matt, now let me ask you a question. Have you ever been told to clean your plate?
All the time, but if I don't, I have bad consequences from my mom.
Well, coming up on QNN, find out why that might not be a good thing.
Plus, York Hill was taken over by Darth Vader and stormtroopers. Find out why next. We'll be right back.
The Sportscaster panel held this past Friday for communication students turned into a panel of just one. The panel was supposed to include sports reporters from NBC Connecticut, the Hartford Courant, and the Journal Registry Company, but only one of the 5 reporters scheduled to speak showed up. The other 4 were stuck in the Boston lockdown during the police pursuit of the bomber.
The Hamden Symphony Orchestra, led by music director Vesna Menovich, and featuring Q Professor George Springmeyer, presented the 51st annual spring concert this past weekend at the Fairhaven School. The orchestra featured numerous high school and college students from around this state, playing alongside with professionals for an afternoon of music. Also this past weekend, anime readers and movie buffs dressed in character made their way up to Quinnipiac's York Hill campus to participate in QuinnyCon. QuinnyCon is Quinnipiac's version of the much more famous Comic-Con. Participants were able to enjoy 2 days worth of free activities and events, including the premiere of the anime drama Dark Swamp Episode 2. Now to some health news. One state is trying to make it harder for youths to buy cigarettes.
Joel Talbot has more.
Thanks, guys. Yes, New York City is in the spotlight today after proposing a major push in their campaign to curb smoking. Officials want to change the minimum age for buying cigarettes from 18 to 21 years old. If this takes effect, New York City would become the most populous place in America to raise the age for buying cigarettes. Officials say raising the age limit could cut smoking among 18 to 20-year-olds by more than half. However, others think this will lead to kids getting cigarettes through illegal means. The City Council and Mayor Bloomberg are set to discuss the proposal next week. Now, for kids a little bit younger than 21, a new study from the University of Minnesota is questioning exactly how do parents' attitudes towards food affect the child's weight. Now, we've all heard our parents say, clean your plate, but is this necessarily a good thing? The study shows that denying kids certain foods or forcing them to clean their plate may be a cause for weight issues. The research found that parents who restricted junk food were more likely to have overweight children. Overall, the message to take away is that parents should focus more on good eating habits instead of worrying if their kids have a cookie now and then. Now, choosing healthy foods is beneficial for everyone, no matter what age, and there are some foods that can directly affect how you look and feel. If you love to exercise, artichoke and spinach are great to power up your stamina and increase your energy. It is important to exercise your mind as well. Foods such as eggs and blueberries are said to boost and enhance your memory significantly. But if you're simply looking to boost your mood, studies show walnuts and asparagus create the feel-good chemical serotonin and help to control stress. Now, with the stressful finals week coming up, I think I will be loading up on some of these foods. How about you guys?
Yeah, about that. I can't really cook, so I'm going to stick with the candy and the junk food for finals week.
Well, I think I heard blueberries in there. Maybe I'll try some of those.
Definitely have to let me have some.
Okay. Coming up on QNN, the forecast may be in our favor for May weekend.
Plus, the women's softball team won over the weekend in dramatic fashion. Find out how next. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now let's check the weather. Wednesday is looking beautiful with clear skies and in the upper 60s. Thursday and Friday are looking a bit cloudy with temperatures remaining in the mid-60s.
But the good news is the weekend, clear skies and in the 60s. However, getting into next week, we can expect some cloudy skies, but it still will remain in the 60s.
Spring sports are starting to heat up, and our women's tennis team has once again made it to the NEC Championship. Steve Robertson has the results.
Thanks, guys. The Quinnipiac Women's Tennis Championship dreams came to an end this past weekend in West Windsor, New Jersey after a very successful season. The tennis team was defeated by Fairleigh Dickinson University 4-3, despite strong performances by senior Sarah Vibrock and sophomore Jacqueline Rayner during the singles matches. However, sophomore Michelle Dasser was outlasted by FDU freshman Celine Meyer in 3 sets to give the Knights the victory. All of us here at QNN would like to congratulate the tennis team on a great season. The women's softball team also had a very busy weekend with a double dip on tap with Fairleigh Dickinson. Quinnipiac struggled in the first game with freshman pitcher Sydney Roby giving up 5 runs in the first inning, including a pair of home runs to FDU senior Michaela Fernandez and freshman Courtney Sly. The Bobcats were unable to recover and dropped the game 7-1. However, in the second game, completely different story. After a pitcher's duel between Quinnipiac senior Hannah Lindsley and FDU junior Samantha Lem, FDU learned what can happen if you intentionally load the bases in front of sophomore Jordan Paolucci as she crushed a walk-off, game-winning, grand salami in the bottom of the 8th inning to salvage a split with the Knights. That victory means the Bobcats are still 1 game ahead of LIU Brooklyn in the NEC with 8 games to play. The Quinnipiac baseball team struggled a bit this weekend, getting swept by Notre Dame in a 3-game tilt in South Bend. The Bobcats dropped their final game 5-1 on Sunday and dropped to 10-24 on the year. Bobcats get back to work against Dartmouth tomorrow and then host Wagner for a 4-game NEC series April 26th through the 28th. And ceremonies for those affected by the Boston Marathon's bombings continued this weekend as the Red Sox returned home to face the Kansas City Royals. Both players and fans honored the victims and the first responders in a great pregame ceremony. A giant American flag was unfurled over the Green Monster, and the players and fans were involved in the singing of the national anthem. Now, guys, I'm not typically one to get too emotional most of the time, but when I see something like that and that kind of patriotism, I can't help but get a little teary-eyed. What about you guys?
It was a tragedy that happened, but it's great to see a town come together as one and be able to celebrate through sports.
I'd have to agree. I do. Coming up on QNN, a halftime show in Oklahoma City.
You have to see to believe. Stay with us.
Now, this halftime show was one of a kind. It featured amazing dog tricks like this one here, where it looks like he's doing the wheelbarrow.
Oh, there's some pretty cool tricks that these dogs are doing right now. This is amazing. This is absolutely cool. And this occurred during Game 1 of the playoffs between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets.
And it looks like those dogs are doing the cha-cha Congo line. I'm not really sure, but all I know is that my dog can barely sit. So maybe I should take him to the trainer.
Yeah, we should call him up after the newscast.
I think so. Thanks for joining us here on QNN.
We'll be back next semester with more news from around Quinnipiac and the local community. Good night.
Here in Ansonia, the sirens replace the sound of kids playing.
It's tough for this town. A lot of the kids participate in athletics, so I know that it's going to be tough for the kids that were expecting to play, not being able to have a team.
The school district voted this past June to cut $100,000 from the sports program, which includes all middle school sports, as well as most freshman teams at the high school. The impact is being felt especially by the students, like Christian Saleas and Juan De La Rosa.
I think it's bad for they cutting out the freshman sports because then freshmen don't have nothing to do, so they have to try out for JV and varsity, but if they don't make it, they can't play any sports.
Since they cut the freshman basketball team, I was really looking forward to, because everybody says I have skills or I could play good, so I was really looking forward to playing on freshmen.
Also, some of the parents in the district are upset about the cuts, as sports gives their kids something to do.
I keep my kids involved in sports so they're not involved in the bad stuff, you know, and it's worked so far. So I'm going to stick with it and hopefully, you know, sports come back around for our schools.
The money is being cut due to the state of Connecticut not giving the school district its grant because the once underachieving school now has its test scores up. With the Ansonia budget cuts, places like this one here, the Boys and Girls Club of the Lower Naugatuck Valley, they're trying to help kids stay more active.
Being that a lot of the kids in this town rely on sports, it gives them something to look forward to.
At the Boys and Girls Club, they are sponsoring more teams and leagues for this upcoming winter season.
We will offer basketball leagues. We're working on getting a batting cage. Hopefully we can do a lot of instructional. I'm more towards running instructional activities with actual coaches versus leagues coached by parents.
We'll try and do something about that. We will have teams that travel out of here every single year, but we may add additional teams to see if we can level the playing field a little bit.
And that basketball league will be held as the Boys and Girls Club is now accepting applications for the fall league. Reporting from Ansonia, I'm Matthias Gausz.
Yeah, you may generate a few more sales, but the amount of people that are going to be out of work or out of business kind of negates the effect that they want to have.
New liquor laws were proposed by the state government in dealing with the timing and selling of alcohol. The main portion deals with Sunday openings, as Connecticut is one of only 2 states that does not allow for sales on Sundays.
Of course, we're opposed to the Sunday opening. Anybody who would want to work 15% more hours for the same or less pay would I don't think you'd get too many takers on that.
I mean, we welcome the opportunity for additional sales, although we're not really sure how many sales are going to be garnered by being open on Sundays.
As we know, here in Connecticut, liquor stores are closed on Sunday, like this one here. But that's not the only part of the bill, as minimum pricing also plays a major role.
One of the reasons why there's minimum pricing in the state is the fact that they're not allowed to sell donuts and motor oil and lawn furniture and T-shirts and those kinds of things. So they're really at a disadvantage with some of the larger chains like Stop and Shop.
And these superstores like Stop and Shop and Walmart can sell low and can replace their losses with the sales of their other items.
It was originally presented, it would affect everybody in the state because it opened it up to these superstores.
Another hot topic is the possibility of the loss of jobs.
It creates less opportunities for us as salespeople, so there may not be as many salespeople around or delivery guys. That's one of the things I don't think the state has really looked into.
And as the law continues to move through Congress, we'll keep you updated in the next few weeks. Reporting from Hamden, I'm Matthias Gausz.
Quinnipiac had its first shot at the national title this weekend. Matthias Gausz has more.
Thanks, Hannah. The men's ice hockey team journey reached the end of the road on Saturday night as the war on Whitney had a new chapter written, this time with the national championship on the line. Let's head to Pittsburgh. Late in the second period now, goalie Eric Hartzell plays the puck behind the net as it is later intercepted there by Yale defenseman Gus Young, puts a shot on net, gets redeflected there by Clinton Bourbonnais. He tallies the first goal of the evening for the Bulldogs to take the 1-0 lead into the third period. Now in the third, Bourbonnais gets a shot up to Orzetti. Orzetti will put a shot on net. The rebound comes back out. Orzetti finds a way to squeak it past Hartzell for the 2-0 lead as the Bulldogs celebrate with their fans. Now just 5 minutes later, Connor Jones misplays the puck on in the zone. Now the pass gets up to Andrew Miller, the captain for Yale, fires it 5-hole on Eric Hartzell to beat the Hobie Baker finalist for the 3-0 lead as Yale rejoices after that one. And with just 7 minutes to go, as coach Rand Pecknold pulled Eric Hartzell, Pittsburgh native Jesse Root finds the back of the net for the Bulldogs as they defeat the Bobcats 4-0 for their first ever national championship. Now staying with hockey, senior goaltender Eric Hartzell is taking his talents back to the Steel City, this time with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hartzell inked an entry-level deal with the NHL franchise on Sunday worth just under $1 million. Hartzell will wear the number 31 sweater for the three-time Stanley Cup champs, and the Penguins return to action tomorrow night versus the Canadiens at the Consol Energy Center. It's not known yet if Hartzell will dress for the team. Now, hockey season is over, but there's another team on campus that is making their run at a championship, the women's rugby squad. After defeating Lee University 25-20 on Saturday, the Bobcats faced Appalachian State on Sunday and took down the Mountaineers 22-10. The Bobcats have outscored their opponents by a walloping 665-78 this season. With the win, the team moves to a perfect 14-0 on the season and moves on to the Final Four of the USA Rugby National Tournament. They'll travel out to Stanford, California in just 3 weeks to play for the title. The first game is against Winona State on Friday, May the 3rd at 3 p.m. Now the softball team has gotten hot as of late as they make a run to the Northeast Conference with just less than a month to go in the regular season. The Bobcats have won 7 straight games after sweeping in-state rival Sacred Heart this past weekend, as freshman Abby Johnson hit her first career home run in the 6-0 Game 1 victory. And the Bobcats rallied for 2 runs in both the 6th and 7th innings to grab the come-from-behind victory with a score of 4-3. After starting the conference late 0-3, they now sit in a tie for 4th at 7-3 in the NEC standings. Alex Alba and her crew are currently facing the Fairfield Stags in a non-conference matchup as they trail the Stags 4-3 now in the bottom of the 6th. Now, prior to yesterday's blast at the Boston Marathon, the Red Sox defeated the Rays in their annual Patriots Day morning game. The team then flew to Cleveland before hearing the news about the bombings and arrived in the city to get ready for this series against the AL Central Cleveland Indians. Also coming out of yesterday's news and the photos was the upcoming Sports Illustrated cover. The cover here is a photo from the finish line as the runner on the ground is 78-year-old Bill Ifrig, who fell after the blast but was able to get up and run through the finish line afterwards. The issue is set to hit newsstands tomorrow. Will pay tribute to the 3 people that died and over 100 injured in the bombings at the marathon. I know there's a humbling story after what was a terrible day in Boston, but we'll send it back over to the desk with Hannah and Allie.